It's Tuesday afternoon. Aisle 7, the cereal aisle. You've been shopping for 20 minutes, and you're almost done. Almost. Your child spots a box of sugar-laden cartoon cereal on the bottom shelf, the kind with the toy inside, the kind you've said no to 17 times this month. "Can I have it? Please, please, please!" You say no, calmly, firmly, like the parenting books told you. And then it happens. The scream, the kind of scream that could shatter glass. He's on the floor now, kicking, thrashing, completely dysregulated. Every eye in the store is on you. Your instinct is immediate. Stop that right now or we are leaving. You want to separate, to isolate, to remove him from the situation, or maybe remove yourself from the humiliation. You consider the timeout you'll give him when you get home, the lecture, the consequence. Now, let me show you something radically different. She doesn't say stop. She doesn't say you're being bad. She gets closer. She touches him. Within 60 seconds, the child's breathing slows. The tears stop. The screaming ends. This isn't magic. This isn't permissiveness. This is a psychological concept that Japan has understood for centuries and that Western parenting is only now beginning to recognize. It's called Amae, and by the end of this video, you're going to understand why connection, not separation, is the fastest way to end a tantrum and raise an emotionally secure child. Let's talk about why the Western approach to tantrums so often fails. And I'm not saying this to criticize you. I'm saying this because the model we've been taught is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of how a child's brain works. The timeout, the naughty corner. The idea is simple, right? Remove the child from the situation, let them calm down alone, teach them that bad behavior has consequences. It sounds logical. It sounds fair. But here's what's actually happening inside your child's brain. When a child is screaming, they are not being manipulative. They are not testing you in some calculated way. They are in a state of complete nervous system dysregulation. Their amygdala, the fear center of the brain, has hijacked their entire system. Fight or flight mode, cortisol and adrenaline are flooding their little body. And what do we do in response? We isolate them. We send them away. We remove our presence, which is the one thing that could actually help them regulate. From the child's perspective, and remember, their prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for logic and reason, is completely offline right now. This feels like abandonment. It feels like I am in distress and the person I need most has left me. Here's the visual I want you to hold in your mind. Western discipline builds a wall, a barrier between you and the child. You behaved badly, so I am separating from you. Japanese discipline ties a knot, a connection. You were struggling, so I am coming closer. One creates distance, the other creates intimacy. One says, you are alone in your pain. The other says, I am with you in your pain. And here's the neuroscience that changes everything. Children do not learn when they are in a state of fear. The brain simply cannot process lessons when it's in survival mode. Memory consolidation doesn't happen. Emotional regulation doesn't happen. You're not teaching them anything except that when they are overwhelmed, they will be alone. But when you offer your calm presence, something neurologically profound occurs. It's called co-regulation. Your regulated nervous system helps theirs regulate. Your calm heartbeat, your gentle touch, your steady breathing, these are not abstract comforts. They are biological signals that tell the child's brain the threat is over. You are safe. You can come back online. So what is Amae? And why does it work where timeouts fail? Amae is pronounced A-ma-e. It's a Japanese word that has no direct English translation, which tells you something important. We don't even have a concept for this in Western culture. The closest translation is sweet dependence or indulgent dependency. It refers to the natural, healthy desire of a child to be cared for, to be held, to depend completely on their caregiver. And here's the radical part. Japanese psychology says that you must fully indulge this dependence in order to create a truly independent adult. This sounds completely counterintuitive to Western ears, doesn't it? We've been taught that if we respond too much to our children's needs, we'll spoil them. We'll create clingy, entitled, dependent adults. But the research tells a different story. Attachment theory, pioneered by psychologist John Bowlby, shows us that children who have their dependency needs fully met in early childhood actually become more independent, more confident, and more emotionally resilient as they grow. Think of it like a bank account. When a child's need for connection, for physical touch, for emotional attunement is consistently filled, they build an internal reserve of security. They develop what psychologists call a secure attachment. And children with secure attachments don't need to cling. They don't need to constantly test whether you'll be there. They know you will. But here's the critical distinction, and this is where most people misunderstand Amae. Spoiling is about giving material things, more toys, more screen time, more sugary treats. It's about avoiding conflict by surrendering to every demand. That does create entitlement. Amae is about giving emotional security. It's about presence, touch, attunement. It's about saying, your need for me is not a burden. Your need for connection is healthy and normal, and I will meet it fully. One creates dependency on things. The other creates trust in relationship. Japanese parents understand that the fastest way to independence is through dependence. The fastest way to emotional regulation is through co-regulation. And the fastest way to stop a tantrum is not punishment or isolation, it's connection. Let me give you the exact steps. 3 simple, actionable techniques rooted in the psychology of Amae that you can use the next time your child melts down. Step 1. The Skinship first response. Skinship is another Japanese term. It means physical affection as a form of communication. And here's the 60-second hack. Before you say a single word, you touch. When your child is in meltdown, their verbal processing is offline. Talking at them, explaining, reasoning, lecturing is neurologically useless. They literally cannot hear you. But touch goes directly to the brainstem. It's primal. It's regulating. You kneel down, you move into their space, and you place your hand on their back, their shoulder, or you offer a hug if they'll accept it. You say nothing. You just breathe calmly and maintain that physical contact. Within 60 seconds, often less, you will see a physical shift. The screaming will quiet to crying. The rigid body will soften. This is the nervous system beginning to co-regulate with yours. You are literally lending them your calm. Your steady heartbeat becomes a metronome that their dysregulated system can sync to. Step 2. The mirroring technique. Once the initial storm has passed, once they're no longer screaming, you move to step 2. Emotional validation through mirroring. You name the emotion without validating the behavior. This is crucial. You say, "You are so angry right now. You really wanted that cereal. It's hard when we can't have what we want." Notice what you're not saying. You're not saying it's okay to scream. You're not saying You're right to be upset, so let's get the cereal. You are validating the internal experience, the emotion, while still holding the boundary on the external behavior. This is where Western parents often get confused. They think validation equals permission. It doesn't. You can say, "You're angry," and still say, "We don't throw things when we're angry." When you mirror their emotion accurately, something powerful happens. They feel seen. They feel understood. And when humans, even tiny humans, feel understood, their defensive walls come down. The need to escalate disappears because the core message has been received. Someone gets it. I'm not alone in this. Now, and only now, do you teach the lesson. Shitsuke is the Japanese concept of discipline as teaching. It comes from a word that means to train or to cultivate, like you would cultivate a garden. Not to punish, not to control, to teach. But here's the critical timing. You only teach after regulation has been restored. Once your child is calm, you have a conversation. Remember when you wanted the cereal and I said no? What happened next? You guide them to reflect. You help them build the neural pathways between emotion, behavior, and consequence. Not punishment consequence, but natural consequence. When you screamed, did you feel better or worse? What could we try next time you feel that angry? This is discipline, true discipline, from the Latin disciplina, which means to teach. You are not punishing the past, you are equipping them for the future. And because this teaching happens in a state of calm connection, rather than shame and fear, it actually sticks. The memory consolidates, the lesson is learned. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Isn't this just rewarding bad behavior? If I comfort my child when they're screaming, aren't I teaching them that screaming works? This is the most common objection, and it comes from a fundamental confusion between attention and connection. Rewarding bad behavior would be giving them the cereal because they screamed. That's attention. That's reinforcement. If you escalate, you get what you want. But offering comfort while still holding the boundary, that's connection. You're saying, I will always be here for your feelings, but I won't change the rules because of your behavior. The child learns two things simultaneously. My big emotions are safe with my parent, and my big emotions do not control outcomes. This is authoritative parenting at its finest. High warmth, high structure. Not permissive, not authoritarian. Balanced. But let's address the harder scenario. What if your child hits you when you try to comfort them? What if they push you away, screaming, I hate you? This is where you become what I call the strong container. You maintain your presence, but you protect yourself. You might say calmly, I can see you're very upset. I'm going to stay close, but I won't let you hurt me. You might hold their wrists gently but firmly, or you might sit nearby, close enough to be present, but far enough to be safe. You remain the calm in their storm. You don't mirror their dysregulation. You don't punish them for their distress. You hold space. And here's what happens over time. The child learns that no amount of emotional intensity will push you away. They learn that they are safe to feel everything, even the ugly, scary feelings, and you will still be there. That is the foundation of emotional security. That is how you raise a child who doesn't need to throw tantrums to feel seen. Let me leave you with this thought. The word discipline has been corrupted in modern parenting culture. We think it means punishment. We think it means consequences, isolation, withdrawal of love. But discipline, in its truest form, means to teach. And you cannot teach a child who is drowning in cortisol, in fear. You cannot teach a child who feels abandoned. You can only teach a child who feels safe. Amae teaches us that the path to independence runs directly through dependence. The path to emotional regulation runs directly through co-regulation. And the path to ending tantrums runs directly through connection, not separation. When your child melts down, they are not manipulating you. They are asking you, in the only way their overwhelmed system knows how, are you still here? Am I still safe? Can I trust you with my worst self? And when you kneel down, when you offer your touch, when you stay present through the storm, you answer that question, not with words, but with presence. Yes, I am here. You are safe. I've got you. That's not permissiveness. That's not weakness. That's the strongest thing you can do as a parent. So the next time you're in that supermarket aisle, or that restaurant, or your own living room, and your child falls apart, remember, you don't need to build a wall. You need to tie a knot. Thank you for watching. And remember, discipline means to teach, and the first lesson is always love.